Then if ever thou darest acknowledge it, I will make it my quarrel.
Here is my glove. Give me another of thine.
There.
This will I also wear in my belt. If ever thou come to me and say after tomorrow, this is my glove, by this hand I will take thee apart from thee.
If ever I live to see it, I will challenge it.
Thou darest as well be hanged.
Well, I will do it. Though I take thee into king's company.
Keep thy word. Fare thee well.
Now you would think his face isn't hidden very well. You would think Williams would know that he's talking to the king. At least in the Kenneth Branagh version, his face is very shadowed. And then we're going to get a soliloquy if they do it. But
If the English had
doesn't
any
look
other
like they are.
they would run away.
Now is it time to arm? Come, shall we about it?
O God of battle, steel my soldiers' hearts. Possess them not with fear. Take from them now the sense of reckoning. If the opposed numbers pluck their hearts from them. Not today, O Lord, oh, not today. Think
Lines
not upon the fold.
289
my
and
father
following.
made, encompassing the crown.
In Act 4, Scene 1.
I, Richard's body, have interred anew, and on it have bestowed more contrite tears than from it issued forcing drops of blood. More will I do, though all that I can do is nothing worth, since that my penitence comes after all, imploring pardon.
Okay, we're going to skip from there. We're going to go up to the probably the most famous speech from this play. The St. Crispin's Day speech, and I'm going to show both productions.
O God of battles, steel my soldiers' hearts. Possess them not with fear.
The king hath rode himself to view their battle.
Act 4, Scene 3.
God's arms strike with us.
That's 5-1. Besides, they all are fresh.
His fearful odds. God be with you, princes all. That's my charge. If we no more meet till we meet in heaven, then joyfully, warriors all, adieu.
Farewell, good Salisbury. Good luck go with thee.
Notice they're not necessarily pumped for this battle, looking forward to it,
Full of
thinking they're
valour
going
as
to
of
win.
kindness, princely in both. Well, that we now have here but 1/10,000 of those men in England that do no work today.
What's he that wishes, sir? My cousin Westmoreland. No, my fair cousin. If we are marked to die, we are enough to do our country loss. And if to live, the fewer men, the greater share of honour. God's will, I pray thee, wish not one man more. By Jove, I am not covetous for gold, nor care I who doth feed upon my cost. It yearns me not if men my garments wear. Such outward things dwell not in my desires. But if it be a sin to covet honour, I am the most offending soul alive. No faith, my cuz. Wish not a man from England. God's peace! I would not lose so great an honour, as one man more, methinks, would share from me for the best hope I have. Oh, do not wish one more. Rather, proclaim it, Westmoreland, through my host, that he which hath no stomach to this fight, let him depart. His passport shall be made, and crowns for convoy put into his purse. We would not die in that man's company that fears his fellowship to die with us. This day is called the Feast of Crispian. He that outlives this day and comes safe home will stand a tiptoe when this day is named and rouse him at the name of Crispian. He that shall see this day and live old age will yearly on the vigil feast his neighbours and say, tomorrow is St. Crispian. Then will he strip his sleeve and show his scars and say, these wounds I had on Crispin's day. Old men forget, yet all shall be forgot. But he'll remember, with advantages, what feats he did that day. Then shall our names, familiar in his mouth as household words, Harry the King, Salisbury and Exeter, Erpingham, Westmoreland and York, be in their flowing cups freshly remembered. This story shall the good man teach his son, and Crispin Crispian shall ne'er go by from this day to the ending of the world. We in it shall be remembered. We few. We happy few. We band of brothers. For he today that sheds his blood with me shall be my brother. Be he ne'er so vile, this day shall gentle his condition. And gentlemen in England now abed shall think themselves accursed they were not here, and hold their manhoods cheap, whiles any speaks that fought with us upon St. Crispin's day.
Okay. Now watch Kenneth Branagh's version.
Today, what's he that wishes so? My cousin Westmoreland? No, my fair cousin. If we are marked to die, we are enough to do our country loss. And if to live, the fewer men, the greater share of honour. God's will, I pray thee, wish not one man more. Rather, proclaim it, Westmoreland, through my host, that he which hath no stomach to this fight, let him depart. His passport shall be made, and crowns for convoy put into his purse. We would not die in that man's company that fears his fellowship to die with us. This day is called the Feast of Crispian. He that outlives this day and comes safe home will stand at tiptoe when this day is named, and rouse him at the name of Crispian. He that shall see this day and live old age will yearly, on the vigil, feast his neighbours and say, tomorrow is St. Crispin's. Then will he strip his sleeve and show his scars, and say, these wounds I had on Crispin's day. Old men forget, yet all shall be forgot, but he'll remember with advantages what feats he did that day. Mention our names, familiar in their mouths as household words. Harry the King, Bedford and Exeter, Warwick and Talbot, Salisbury and Gloucester be in their flowing cups freshly remembered. This story shall the good man teach his son, and Crispian shall ne'er go by from this day
to the ending of the world, but we in it shall be remembered. We few, we happy few, we band of brothers, for he today that sheds his blood with me shall be my brother. Be he ne'er so vile, this day shall gentle his condition. And gentlemen in England now abed shall think themselves accursed they were not here, and hold their manhood's cheek, while then he speaks that fought with us upon St. Crispin's Day! My sovereign...
Watch the lights. What's the difference between the two?
It's more of a rally than this one.
More of a rally?
The other one's more of a conference.
Okay. Why is this one more of a rally? He's talking to everyone. He doesn't just have, the household knights around him. Notice how he moves through all the troops. Okay? When you get that one line, line 62, beginning 61. For he today that sheds his blood with me shall be my brother, be he ne'er so vile. All that word vile means is low on the social totem pole. Okay? Even if he is just a mere servant, Harry is saying, this day shall gentle his condition. It will raise him up to the level of a gentleman. Okay? Now, you can differ, obviously. I think this one is a whole lot more convincing. Okay?
It depends on what you're trying to convince people of.
Well, what is Harry trying to convince?
That they can win this, and even if they don't,
They'll die with honor. What else? I mean, notice how it begins. Westmoreland says, oh, that we now had here but 1/10,000 of those men in England. That is 1/10,000th of the men that are still in England. And Harry says, no. Why? Okay.
The fewer the people, the more honor the person.
The fewer the English fighting against this vastly outnumbered French army, the greater the amount of honor for the English, great big huge if, they win. Okay? So he is saying, no. Let's take our few Englishmen and stack them up against this huge number of Frenchmen. We've already seen this idea earlier in the play. Someone makes the comment about one Englishman is the equivalent of 3 Frenchmen. Okay? In the Battle of Agincourt, the English were outnumbered 5-1. Shakespeare changes the numbers a little bit. Okay? He has the French being at 10,000. Okay? So the English would have been 2,000. I think the actual numbers were the English were 12,000 and the French were 60,000. And the English won a huge victory. One other little trivia caveat, I don't know if you noticed, but when he said, the line about fathers and sons, the boy right there.
Hey, to the ending of the world, but we in it shall be remembered. We few.
It's not that far back. Oh well,
Warwick
anyways.
and Talbot, Salisbury and Gloucester be Bedford, familiar in their mouths. He'll remember. Old men forget. Yet all shall be forgot, but he'll remember with advantages what feats he did that day. Mention our names, familiar in their mouths as household words. Harry the King, Bedford and Exeter, Warwick and Talbot, Salisbury and Gloucester be in their flowing cups freshly remembered. This story shall a good man teach his son.
Kristen Bale.
Oh my gosh, that man's so
12, 13 years old. Okay. Okay. So you get the famous St. Crispin's Day speech, and then very shortly after that, we have the herald return. So we're going to go back to where we were. About there.
From England, cuz God's will, my liege. Would you and I alone, without more help, can fight this royal battle? Yeah! You know your places. God be with you all.
Now remember, just
Once
before
more
this
I come to know of thee, King Harry, if I...
scene, as Harry rode into the battlefield, and they do this in almost all productions. He rides in, and you see a pair of feet dangling. Okay?
Yeah.
And he has a conversation, I think it is with Westmoreland. And Westmoreland says, or no, it's Llewellyn, I think it is, that the man was hanged for thieving from the churches. One Bardolph by name. And he kind of says it a little hesitantly because he knows Bardolph was one of Harry's crew, so to speak. Okay? And Harry says, let it be announced throughout the ranks. This is what will happen. Okay? So, Harold comes in.
The ransom they will now compound before their most assured overthrow.
Who hath sent thee now?
The Constable of France.
I pray thee bear my former answer back.
Bid them achieve me and then sell my bones. God! Why should they mock poor fellows thus? Let me speak proudly. Tell the constable, we are but warriors for the working day. Our gayness and our guilt are all besmirched with rainy marching in the painful field. But by the mass, our hearts are in the trim. Herald, save thou thy labour.
Come thou no more for ransom, gentle herald. They shall have none, I swear, but these my joints,
which, if they have, as I shall leave at them, shall yield them
little. Tell the constable.
I shall, King Harry. And so fare thee well. Thou never shalt hear herald any more.
Okay. Lights back up for a bit. Now we're going to skip some and go up to Act 4, Scene 7. Sorry. I'm only going to show one or two more clips today. Okay, Act 4, Scene 7. Llewellyn enters with Gower. And notice Llewellyn's accent. Okay, he's Welsh. So, bus become puz. So, kill the poise and the luggage. 'Tis expressly against the law of arms. Because what has happened is the French have gotten somehow behind the English lines, where the English have left the pages and the squires to watch over the knights and the fighting men's belongings. And they killed them. And when he says, 'tis expressly against the law of arms, he's essentially saying, this is against the Geneva Conventions of War. There are actually laws of war, okay? 'Tis as errant a piece of knavery, mark you now, as can be offered. Is it not? Gower, not a boy left alive. And in the Kenneth Branagh version of this, it's a pretty powerful scene when they go and they see just this mass of kids slaughtered. And then we hear Gower say this. Besides, they burned and carried away all that was in the king's tent. Wherefore the king most worthily has caused every soldier to cut his prisoner's throat. Now keep in mind, in a medieval battle, individual knights could take prisoners that would not become the prisoners, therefore, of the king that they're fighting for. And those knights could take those prisoners and ransom them individually. This was a way for a knight to make money off of a war. Right? When Hotspur took Douglas ransom, the king said, "Deliver your captives to me." Hotspur's no. Okay? The king has that authority. They didn't always exercise it. So Gower tells us, notice it doesn't come from the king's mouth first. Gower tells us the king has said, "Kill all your captives." That's also against the laws of war. Okay? Enemy prisoners are to be treated, even the Middle Ages, maybe a little bit less so than today, but humanely. Okay? And so Fluellen and Gower go on to talk about the king, and Fluellen is emphasizing the king's, I don't have a marker, his Welshness. Keep in mind, what is the king before he becomes king? What's his title? Prince of Wales. Prince of Wales. Okay? Harry was actually born in Monmouth, in Wales. So he's not only the Prince of Wales, just like Prince Charles today is the Prince of Wales, even though he wasn't born in Wales. Harry was actually born in Wales, and I don't think I've mentioned this before. Henry V is often regarded as the most beloved of all English kings. Okay? One little interesting tidbit about him is that, again, he was born in the late 14th century, grew to manhood in the early 15th century. Where was I going with that? Train of thought just completely derailed. Born in the 14th century, grew up in the 15th century. He was the first of the Plantagenet kings, who are essentially, they trace their line back to France. He was the first of the Plantagenet kings to grow up actually speaking English. Okay? Henry IV, his father, had to learn English. Essentially, it's a foreign language. Hal didn't. Hal grew up speaking English and has to learn French, which is why you get the scene at the end of the play where he's trying to speak French to Catherine, who is French, and he just mangles it left and right. Okay? So, skip a few lines and pick up with 54. Gower and Fluellen quit speaking, and the king comes in. "I was not angry since I came to France until this instant." What does he mean?
Up to now, it was just business.
Up to now, it was just business. Or, up to now, I was doing my kingly duty. But now what's happened? What's the difference? Use a modern example if you need to.
Now he's got a reason to really go up against him. Besides just getting land and getting prestige, he's acting on their own violence against his patrons.
What did the Japanese ambassador, if you know your American history, say after Pearl Harbor? "I fear we have roused a sleeping giant." Okay? 9/11. Same kind of thing. Bush was getting all kinds of advice. Don't go off half-cocked. Because the fear was the United States was going to send some B-52s loaded with nukes and just, turn a few places into glass factories. Okay? "I was not angry since I came to France until this instant. Take a trumpet, herald. Ride thou unto the horsemen on yon hill, that is, our men who are on that hill over there. If they will fight with us, bid them come down." The French. "If they will fight with us, bid them come down or void the field." That is, fight or leave. "They do offend our sight. If they'll do neither, we will come to them and make them scurry away as swift as stones, enforced from the old Assyrian slings. Besides, we'll cut the throats of those we have, and not a man of them that we shall take shall taste our mercy. He's saying, also let them know, if they live, they won't live. That is, if they don't flee right now, those that we don't kill in battle, we will kill after battle. There will be no mercy from this point on. Okay? In this scene, I actually am going to show, for some of it at least, think of what that is. This is the chorus speaking. The Dauphin getting ready for battle. The French are also superior looking. The English longbows are what won the Battle of Agincourt. Okay, we did enough of the battle scene, so let's try to... Okay, come on. Where is it?
It's so long.
What I may be looking for may actually be in the next scene. Okay, going to part 11.
Why, all our ranks are broken. Unutterable shame. Shame. And eternal shame. Nothing but shame. Dying art. Once more, Buffy. We are living in the field to smother up the English in our tongues if any order might be put upon. The devil take order now! Hail to the throne, and let life be short. Our shame will be too long! Well, have we done, thrice valiant countrymen? Till all's not done, yet keep the French the field!
I'm going to skip a bunch. It's here that they discover the boys. Dad, hold on. Yeah, I'm going to pick up here.
I was kindly offered. Give you a conscience now. Is it not? Sir, there's not a boy left alive. What? I was not angry since I came to France until this instant! Here comes the herald of the French, my liege. Oh, yes! What means they have? Come flow again for us now! The king! I come to thee, charitable license, that we may wander o'er this bloody field to book our dead and then to bury them. To sort our nobles from our common men. For many of our princes were the while lie drowned, soaked in mercenary blood. Oh, give us leave, great king, to view the field in safety and dispose of their dead bodies. I tell thee truly, Harold, I know not if the day be ours or no. The day is yours. Praised be God, and not our strength for it. What is this castle called that stands hard by?
They call it Agincourt.
Then call we this the field of Agincourt.
1415, the date.
On the day of Crispianus. Your grandfather of famous memory, is your majesty, and your great uncle, Edward, the Black Prince of Wales, as I have read in the chronicles, fought a most brave battle here in France. They did, Floyd. Your majesty says very true. If your majesty is remembered of it, the Welshman did good service in a garden where leeks did grow. Wearing leeks in a Monmouth castle, as your majesty know, to this hour is an honourable badge in service. And I do believe your majesty takes no scorn to wear the leek upon St. David's Day. I wear it for a memorable honour. For I am Welsh, you know, good my countrymen. All the water in wine cannot wash your majesty's Welsh blood out of your body, I can tell you that. God bless it and preserve it, so long as it pleases his grace and his majesty too. Thanks, good my countrymen. Choose who I am, Your Majesty's countrymen. I dare not do no other. I shall confess it to all the world. And I need not be ashamed of Your Majesty, praising God. So long as Your Majesty is an honest man. God keep me, sir. Does fortune play the hat?
Okay. I'm gonna skip some more. And we're gonna go to,
Oh, do I whack?
I didn't actually look this scene up. This is where the king, or this is going to be where, okay, that's where they're talking with Montjoy. It's where the king's going to confront Williams. If you remember,
Yeah.
Williams challenged essentially the king when the king was in disguise. They exchanged gauntlets or gloves. Okay? And we're going to see how the king deals with this. I'm pretty sure that's Williams. Should be somewhere around, hopefully, Act 4, Scene 8.
Davy Gam, Esquire, none else of name, and of all other men, but 25.
Unless they skipped it. This is the king on page 911. I'm going to go back some. Because he's going through the list of dead there.
Sorted French.
Yeah. This is picking up around line 75. Act 4, Scene 8.
This note doth tell me of 10,000 French within the field lie slain. Of princes in this number 126. Added to these of knights, esquires, and gallant gentlemen, 8,400, of the which 500 were but yesterday done knights.
Meaning they weren't prepared.
Here was a royal fellowship of death. Where's the number of our English dead?
So, 10,000 French dead.
Edward, the Duke of York, the Earl of Suffolk, Sir Richard Keightley, Davy Gam, Esquire, none else of name, and of all other men, but 25.
It's not historically accurate, but Shakespeare's trying to show how great the English victory was.
Come, go we in procession to the village, and be it death proclaimed through our host to boast of this, or take that praise from God which is his only.
Is that lawful and please your majesty to tell how many is killed?
Aye, Captain, but with this acknowledgement, that God fought for us.
Yes, my conscience. He did us great good.
Do we all holy rites. Let there be sung non nobis and Te Deum. The dead with charity enclosed in clay. And then to Calais, and to England then, where ne'er from France arrived more happy men.
This next scene, which is added, is pretty moving. So we've got time. We'll watch it.
Non nobis Domine, Domine, non nobis Domine, sed nobine, sed nobine, tuo gloria.
I think that's a dead Christian Bale. What's the significance of Harry carrying Davy? I mean, why show this?
Because he's the king carrying the dead. Like, he's showing respect for the dead.
He's showing respect for the dead. He's lowering himself. Okay? He's elevating young Davy Gam. Okay, lights are coming up. Go back for a moment to the scene I wanted to show, but got left out. Act 4, Scene 8. Picking up around line 28. Warwick and Fluellen and Williams are talking. Fluellen accuses Williams of being a traitor because he has a glove that Fluellen says belonged to the Duke Alençon. And Williams says, "My liege, this was my glove," points to it, and says, "Here's the fellow of it," shows him his other glove, that it's a match. "And he that I gave it to in charge promised to wear it in his cap. I promised to strike him if he did. I met this man with my glove and his cap, and I have been as good with my word." Okay? In other words, he met this man, Fluellen, and so Fluellen says, "Here now, saving your majesty's manhood, what an errant, rascally, beggarly, lousy knave it is. I hope your majesty is bear me testimony, witness, and will avouchment that this is the glove of Alençon that your majesty gave to me in your conscience. King, give me that glove, soldier." Talking to Williams. "Look, here is the fellow of it." Okay? He shows that he has the other glove. 'twas I indeed, thou promisedst, that's hard to say, by the way, to strike. So when he says that, in some productions I've seen, Williams gets this look on his face, his eyes get about as big as saucers, and he realizes, I promised to strike the king. It's a capital offense. Okay? And thou hast given me most bitter terms. And it please your majesty, let his neck ends for it. Llewellyn, kill him. Canst thou make me satisfaction? In other words, what do you have to say for yourself? Williams, all offenses, my lord, come from the heart. Okay? That is, offenses, or let's use a religiously loaded term, sins, come from in here. They're actions of motivation. Never came any from mine that might offend your majesty. That is, never came any offenses from my heart that might offend your majesty. What does he mean by that? Bingo. I never intended motivationally to offend the king. If I'd known it was you, okay, it was ourself thou didst abuse. Your majesty came not like yourself. He says, sorry, your majesty, it wasn't yourself, it was your other. You appeared to me but as a common man. Witness the night, your garments, your lowliness, and what your highness suffered under that shape. I beseech you, take it for your own fault and not mine. I mean, talk about a, pardon my language, ballsy move here. He is saying, what you got yourself into that night is your fault.
If you're going to go around dressed like that, you got to expect that kind of thing.
Especially the night before a big battle when everybody is thinking what? They're going to die. This isn't a battle where they're looking down on a puny French force and thinking, we're going to slaughter them. They know the French force is huge, and they are small. I beseech you, take it for your own fault and not mine. For had you been as I took you for, I made no offense. That is, if you were a nobody, then there wouldn't have been any offense. Therefore, I beseech your highness, pardon me. He really shouldn't even need to ask for pardon. What he almost should be able to say is, therefore, I pardon you, your highness. You're the one who tricked me. Here, Uncle Exeter, fill this glove with crowns. That is, with pounds, royal pound pieces of money, dollars, essentially. Fill it. Keep in mind, one of these gloves isn't just, like a little glove. It's a gauntlet. It goes from your fingertips up to your elbow. This will hold a lot of crowns. Fill it. Give it to him. Keep it. Wear it for an honor in thy cap till I do challenge it. In other words, you're right. You got me. Okay? Now, jump forward. We're going to jump far forward to the scene. It's the end, essentially, where Harry and Catherine have their tete-a-tete, which means head-to-head, okay, where they have their conversation. And one of the things I especially like, I've not watched this in the Tom Hiddleston version, but one of the things I really like about the Kenneth Branagh version is who Kenneth Branagh cast as Catherine. It was his wife at the time. After they did a few Shakespeare films, they got a divorce. Emma Thompson. Okay. If I remember right, Kenneth Branagh was about 25, 24 when he did this film. and Emma Thompson was about the same age. And I'm going to, hopefully I can get this queued up right. This ought to be in the 15th. That's 12. I have no idea what top 10 wet, wild, and sexy movie scenes have to do with Henry V.
And from her blood, raise up issue to me.
No, that's not the one I want. I don't think that's the one I want.
And everything that seems unnatural. And my speech in
So Sir Paul Scofield, one of the great actors of the 20th century, plays the part of the French king. Catherine is his daughter.
His love suit to her gentle heart.
Your Majesty shall mock at me.
Back up a little bit.
Who
is it?
I said
Yeah, she's pretty young. You know, and if you're into Harry Potter, you know, Gilderoy Lockhart and Professor Trelawney, if you want. This is a great scene. We're going to watch all of this.
Most fair. Will you vouchsafe to teach a soldier terms such as will enter the lady's ear and plead his love suit to her gentle heart?
Your Majesty shall mock at me. I cannot speak your England.
That means
Catherine,
he's
if you will
screwed.
love me soundly with your French heart, I will be glad to hear you confess it brokenly with your English tongue. Do you like me, Kate?
Pardonnez-moi, I cannot tell what is like me.
An angel is like you, Kate. You're like an angel.
Que dit-il que je suis semblable à les anges?
Oui, vraiment, sur votre grâce, ainsi dit-il.
Mon Dieu, les langues des hommes sont pleines de tromperies.
What says she, fair one? That the tongues of men are full of deceits?
Oui, that the tongues of the men is be full of deceits. That is the process.
In fact, my wooing is fit for thy understanding. I know no ways to mince it in love, but directly to say I love you. And if you urge me farther than to say do you in faith, I wear out my suit. Give me your answer if faith do, and so clap hands in a bargain. How say you, lady?
Clap hands in a bargain.
Votre honneur me understand well.
Mary, if you would put me to verses or to dance for your sake, Kate, why you undid me. If I could win a lady at leapfrog or by vaulting into my saddle with my armour on my back, I should quickly leap into a wife. I could lay on like a butcher, sit like a jackanapes, never off. But before God, Kate, I cannot look greenly, nor gasp out my eloquence, nor I have no cunning in protestation.
Okay, notice what he's just said.
But never looks in his...
He has no cunning in protestation. He says, he's essentially saying he has no power in words. What has Harry been showing all throughout the play?
a lot of words.
I mean, there are scads of articles written about the power of rhetoric in this play. And here, final scene, beautiful woman, what happens to him? Tongue-tied, okay?
It's because she's so pretty.
Because she's so pretty.
Glass, for love of anything he sees there, let thine eye be thy cook. I speak to thee, plain soldier, if thou canst love me for this, take me. If not, to say to thee that I shall die, 'tis true, but for thy love, by the Lord, no. Yet I love thee too. If thou would have such a one, take me. And take me, take a soldier. Take a soldier. Take a king. And what sayest thou then to my love? Speak, my fair. And fairly too, I pray thee.
Is it possible that I should love the enemy of France?
No, Kate. It is not possible that you should love the enemy of France, Kate. But in loving me, you should love the friend of France. For I love France so well that I will not part with a village of it. I will have it all mine. And Kate, when France is mine and I am yours, then yours is France and you are mine.
I cannot tell what is that.
No, Kate. I will tell thee in French, which I'm sure will hang about my tongue like a new married wife about her husband's neck, hardly to be shook off. Je prends sur la position de France et
This is translated in your books.
avec la position de moi. Let me see. Donc, votre et France, vous êtes mien. It is as easy for me, Kate, to conquer the kingdom as to speak so much more French. I will never move thee.
Have any of you studied French?
It's wonderful.
None? Okay. It's pretty bad. You know, in French, you don't pronounce, for example, final consonants. So when he said donc, sous, donc, sous, okay? Anglais, parlez-vous français? Not parlez-vous française, okay? Which, if you want to, that's French after the School of Woodbury.
Frenchness never laugh at me.
Sans votre honneur, le français que vous parlez est meilleur que l'anglais lequel je parle.
No, Kate, it is not. But tell me, Kate.
See, now notice what just occurred. She rattled on in French, and what did he do? He understood. Okay? Because the historical Henry V, he grew up, he understood. He could hear French and understand it. He couldn't speak it. Okay? He had to learn how to speak it. Because English was his native tongue.
Much English. Canst thou love me?
I cannot tell.
Well, can any of your neighbours tell, Kate? By mine honour, in true English, I swear I love thee. By which honour, I dare not swear thy love is me. Yet my blood begins to flatter me that thou dost. Notwithstanding the poor and untempering effect of my visage, now beshrew my father's ambition. He was thinking of civil wars when he got me. Therefore was I created with a stubborn outside, with an aspect of iron, that when I come to woo ladies, I fright them. But in faith, Kate, the elder I wax, the better I shall appear. My comfort is that old age, that ill layer up of beauty, can do no more spoil upon my face. Thou hast me, if thou hast me, at the worst, and thou shalt wear me, if thou wear me, better and better. And therefore tell me, most fair Catherine, will you have me? Come, your answer in broken music, for thy voice is music, and thy English broken. Therefore, queen of all Catherine, wilt thou have me?
That is as it shall please le roi mon père.
It shall please him well, Kate. It shall please him, Kate.
Then shall also content me.
Upon that, I kiss your hand, and I call you my queen.
Laissez, monseigneur, laissez. Ma foi, je ne veux point que vous abaissez votre candeur en baisant la main d'une votre seigneurie indigne serviteur. Excusez-moi, je vous supplie, mon très puissant seigneur.
Then I will kiss your lips, Kate.
Les dames et demoiselles doivent être baisées devant leur noces. Il n'est pas la coutume de France.
Madam, my interpreter, what says she?
That is not be the fashion for the ladies of France. I cannot tell what is base en English.
To kiss?
Your Majesty entend better que moi.
Ah, it is not a fashion for the maids in France to kiss before they are married, would you say?
Oui, vraiment.
Oh, Kate.
Nice customs courtesy to great kings. You and I cannot be confined within the weak list of a country's fashion. We are the makers of manners, Kate.
That's a great line.
Therefore, patiently and yielding.
It's kind of what England, I think, is looking forward to Prince William and his wife, Kate Middleton, to be the makers of fashion.
There is more eloquence in a sugar touch of them than in the tongues of the French council. Here comes your father.
Notice, don't let him see us kissing, because it goes against French custom.
Your Majesty. My royal cousin, teach you our princess English.
I would have her learn, my fair cousin, how perfectly I love her. And that is good English.
We have consented to all terms of reason.
Thereupon, give me your daughter.
Take her first, son.
I just wish we could get. Wish they could put this all in one file.
And from her blood raise up issue to me, that the contending kingdoms of France and England, whose very shores were pale with envy of each other's happiness, may cease their hatred. And this dear conjunction, plant, neighborhood, and Christian-like accord in their sweet bosoms, that never war advance his bleeding sword twixt England and fair France.
Amen. Now welcome, Kate, and bear me witness all, that here I kiss her as my sovereign queen.
What is that?
God, the best maker of all marriages, combine our hearts in one, our realms in one. As man and wife, being two, are one in love, so be there twixt our kingdoms such a spousal, that never may ill office or fell jealousy, which troubles oft the bed of blessed marriage, thrust in between the passion of these kingdoms, to make divorce of their incorporate league, that English may as French, French Englishmen receive each other. God, speak this. Amen.
Amen.
Thus far, with rough and all unable pen, our bending author hath pursued the story. In little room confining mighty men, mangling by stars the full course of their glory. Small time, but in that small, most greatly lived this star of England. Fortune made his sword, by which the world's best garden he achieved, and of it left his son imperial lord. Henry VI, in infant bands crowned King of France and England, did this king succeed, who stayed so many at the managing, that they lost France, and made his England bleed, which oft our stage hath shown. And for their sake, in your fair minds, let this acceptance take.
Okay, watch your eyes. Notice how the play with that epilogue, ends on a rather somber note. I mean, you get the English ultimately get control of France, as the chorus says, with Henry VI, who becomes king of England and France, okay, but then loses it. Well, what comes about almost immediately? Civil War. The Wars of the Roses. The wars between the Lancastrians and the Yorks. So you have this battle ultimately that begins when Henry Bolingbroke deposes Richard II. Then you get not really a period of peace, because you still have the Civil War between Henry Bolingbroke, or Henry IV, and the Earls of the North and the Earls of the West. Okay? Peace is achieved in the reign of Henry V, but then what does he do? He takes his father's advice, and he immediately launches into battle against the French as part of this continuing battle, long war against the French, known as the 100 Years' War. He wins peace, and his son, new battles erupt. Okay? That seems to be an almost an overarching theme through Shakespeare's, at least the history plays, that peace never lasts. It never stands. And you can almost even say that this is a theme that fills all of his plays, because even when you have plays like the comedies where peace is maintained or peace is restored, you then often get a tragedy that is on a similar idea as the comedy, and it undercuts it. So you get this wavering, or this undulating motion back and forth between peace and war, peace and war. Okay? I think one of the reasons for that is the time in which Shakespeare lived. He didn't live in a very peaceful period. Okay? The longest period of peace, if you want, is from when Queen Elizabeth becomes queen in 1558 to the Spanish Armada in 1588. Shakespeare's born in 64. He's only 24 when the Spanish Armada occurs. Okay. In 88, though, we don't know where Shakespeare is, whether he's back still in Stratford or he's off in London. Completely unknown. So growing up, he has a little period kind of peace and happiness, but then the Spanish Armada, and then you get all this antagonism towards the Catholics. And if you've read the Shakespeare book yet, and if you haven't, you'll get into this, you get Elizabeth's growing concern, let's say, against the Catholics. Well, Shakespeare's family was, by all indications, Catholic. So that puts him kind of in a tricky spot. Okay? Now, the next play we're going to do, completely different. It's As You Like It. One of the most famous of the romantic comedies, not quite as famous probably as Midsummer Night's Dream. Midsummer Night's Dream, you can't go pretty much any English-speaking country during the summer and not find somebody putting on a Midsummer Night's Dream. As You Like It's a little more difficult. The plot's a little bit more complex. You got a lot of cross-dressing going on. So Shakespeare just, man, if he can put some cross-dressing, he's just going to have all kinds of fun with that, because you have boys playing girls, playing men, and in a couple of plays, boys playing girls, playing men, playing girls. So the whole idea of gender just gets blown out of the water. Okay? We'll stop there. We're going to try and do all of As You Like It on Thursday. We'll see whether